All right, hello everyone, it's Raleigh and welcome to the channel. So, we got some big news. This is kind of a continuation of Monday's video that I made. But yeah, we got some huge news. So, I think, it's weird to think that it took until like the second image that was released for it to kind of like set in or whatever. I was trying to like keep my expectations like low and like not really think anything of it, but ArenaNet released another image today, and it's looking like we're getting elite specializations, which is crazy, right? That's insane. That's I'm like, oh my god. So just so you guys know, some of the first videos that I ever made on this channel were elite specialization speculations. This was before End of Dragons, before we got all the details on like End of Dragons elite specializations and stuff like that. But yeah, I made like a whole set of them. And then I had all this feedback from the viewers, you know, like I feel like it's a completely different like audience now that I have compared to what it was back then. But I took all the feedback and I took all the discussion that we got from all of these, right? And I created another set in another video like later on or whatever, right? And yeah, and it was just really cool. I really I don't know. It's weird to think now we're getting another elite specialization, because now I'm thinking back of the very first videos that I ever made on this channel, right? And I'm thinking back of like, oh my god, we have all these possibilities of things that we could see that, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, almost none of my elite specializations really ever made it into the game, right? So it was like, the one that did come into the game was like the Shadow Mage, which I had this elite specialization for the Thief that was supposed to be based on like shadow magic, right? Which ended up coming into the game in a form through the Spectre, right? So I had these kinds of like certain ideas and stuff, but yeah, I'm gonna link those in the description down below for you guys. Just so you know, these were my first videos. So this was before I wrote scripts, before I even knew what I was doing. This was like way early on, 5 years ago. And but yeah, if you guys want to kind of see, because like I said, I might go through my own old videos because it was so long ago and see what ideas I had for elite specializations. But I could totally see some of these elite specializations, because there's one that I actually did make that was like Bard or something, or Minstrel. I think I called it the Minstrel or something. And it was music related. So it's, we're going back to the image on Monday, and there's a train coming through, always on time. Perfectly on time when I'm trying to record. Yeah, so this is crazy. Like, this is wild. So let's kind of look. We're going to be looking at this new image that was released today. We're going to kind of talk about that because it seems to be indicating elite specializations. And then I want to kind of look at and theorize what we could see if we have an elite specialization with that. And then I want to look at Monday's image as well and kind of actually take that same discussion that we had, but talk about elite specializations in that sense, right? And what we could see. So this is the new image. Hold on, let me pull it up. There it is. Okay. So this is the new image that was released today. And yeah, so immediately, obviously, I think what jumps out is it looks like a warrior, right? It looks like in a warrior spec. I think most people are kind of thinking that. I'm hoping, personally, it's not warrior, and I have just only one reason for that, really. I'm hoping that this is more guardian related. Not that I want this icon to go to the guardian, but I don't want this icon to go to the warrior, right? Because here's the reason. This looks like an updated version of the core warrior icon. So to me personally, I find it kind of strange if we were to get an elite specialization to have pretty much an updated core icon rather than a whole new icon that looks different, right? When we look at all these other, icons and stuff, like for elite specializations, they usually don't look specifically like their core trait, their core profession, right? So the core warrior image is this, right? It's a helmet, slits for the eyes and the mouth and stuff, but wings on the helmet, right? And this is the same thing here, right? Like wings on the side with the slits for the right. This is almost like it's just an updated version of this icon. As you guys can see, this is the old style of them making icons, right? And that style has kind of evolved over the years. And now this looks, you know, these new icons that ArenaNet makes, they look a lot more smoother. They look a little bit, I don't know, they smoother, and they don't look like, this looks like kind of old-timey, which is totally fine. I'm not saying I prefer one or the other, but yeah, this is like the new way that they make icons now and stuff like that, more high res a little bit too. But yeah, I don't know what I think. Like, if this is, like, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to see an elite specialization that just takes the core icon and, like, kind of updates it a little bit. So I feel like that might be kind of weird. You know, when we look at professions and we look at, like, you know, when we look at all the elite specializations, right? These are all the icons, right? So the Guardian, for example, the Guardian gets, as the Dragon Hunter, gets, like, a shield, right? You see that there. And then as a Firebrand, it gets this, like, weird, I don't know what that's supposed to be, like a fan or something. I don't know. It's like some kind of something, right? And then it gets like these dual swords, right? So very different from what the core looks like, right? Same with like all the other ones. They look very, very different. Like, they have certain elements that kind of translate over. Like, for example, when you look at the Vindicator, you can see the little triangle in the middle. And it's the same on the, like, Revenant. It has a little triangle, but it's just upside down, right? So there's, like, certain elements, I feel like, that maybe get translated. But when we look at something like the Herald, that doesn't at all look like what the Revenant looks like, you know? Even for the Warrior, I mean, Berserker is a flaming sword. Spellbreaker is, like, you know, what looks like a dagger. I mean, that's the icon for full counter or whatever, right? But it looks like a dagger. This is supposed to be the, like, the spear tips from the Paragon, right? So I you know, Bladesworn is the bullet that points up. Like, nothing looks like the core icon, right? So I kind of would feel like it would be kind of weird to have an icon that looks almost like an updated version of the core icon for an elite specialization. That's just my opinion. You know, the Weaver is probably like one of the closer ones because it looks like it's a different color, right? But it's almost like a flame that has kind of like the same, almost like a twirl in the middle or something, right? Like, you can kind of see that a little bit. And then Catalyst is also like a type of fire, you know, so Tempest is probably the only one that looks different. But, like, I don't know. I just think that, you know, when I look at elite specialization icons, they, you know, Soul Beast is probably the only exception because it is a paw print, but it's a different paw print, you know. So I don't know. You know, how do you guys think? Like, do you guys think this is a warrior? Do you guys think this isn't a warrior, or is it a guardian? So I'm thinking, so let's kind of theorize on what this elite specialization could be. So I'm thinking, first of all, we're not going to get a new weapon. Okay. The reason I say that is because we have been getting two weapon sets. We got two weapon sets. We got one weapon set with each of these new expansions in the expansion model, right? But we didn't get an elite specialization line with it, right? I think they're doing the opposite now. They have added two new weapons pretty much to each profession over the last two expansions, and they want to now add another elite specialization to give me 1 second here. They now want to add a elite specialization, but not add a weapon. I think that's what we're going to see here. But what I think we're going to see, and I don't think this is like the worst thing of all to happen, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see elite specialization lines that interact with the new weapons, right? Like, I think we're going to see trades in these trade lines that deal with, like, the spear, or the, like, if this is the warrior, let's take this warrior elite like icon as an elite specialization, right? And let's say this is the warrior, and what could we see with the warrior and stuff. So I think that we're gonna see something where, like, a whole trade line interacts with, like, maybe making the spear like a Condi weapon, right? Where, like, it interacts with these different things that the spear does, and it changes it to, like, applying bleeding or something, right? Or, like, you know, it deals fire damage now or something like that, right? And then maybe have another one where it deals with the staff, where we now have a like if we take the middle line of this trade line, for example, we get like a whole healing line where it deals with like applying boons and stuff like that, or like where you know, if you're wielding a staff, your concentration is increased and your cooldown on your staff's skills is lowered, right? Like, I think we're gonna see those traits that interact with the 2 last weapon sets that were added into the game that didn't have any traits related to them. And the reason why I think that is because the other reason is not just that, you know, they're trying to do like the opposite, and right, as I mentioned earlier, but what I think as well is happening is, if you guys remember, like, and I think they did that with multiple ones, but there used to be trade lines that were like, I remember the warrior one, and I don't know what the name of it is, but it's the one where like on critical hits you gain might or something like that, right? And it was like and this trait interacted with both greatsword and spears, right? And then they went, when Janthia Wilds came out, they specifically went and changed that trade to be specific for greatswords and underwater spears. So they took that away from land spears. So we had a trade that would have interacted with that new weapon, but they took that away. And I remember when that happened, I was like, I wonder why they did that. Because, you know, not that that's like game breaking or anything. Like, I don't think gaining might on critical hits or whatever it wasn't anything that would have been like completely game breaking. So I was like, I wonder why they did that. And I think they did that on quite a few of the traits that were still in the game that just said spears, and then they had to specify on it that it's for underwater spears. And I think the reason was because at that point in time they had already planned on making elite specializations, and I'm thinking that they were already planning on having specific on land spears traits that they were going to be adding, that they were already thinking about, like, hey, this new elite specializations for this new expansion that's coming out next year, right? That's not coming out, that's not the coming one, but the one that's coming out next year. Like, we're gonna have those elite specializations interact with these weapons that were added in the last 2 expansions. I think that's what we're going to be seeing. So I think we're going to be seeing elite specializations that deal with the older weapons. They're not going to have their own weapons. They're going to have the weapons from Secrets of the Obscure and Janthia Wilds on their trade lines, and they're going to kind of modify them. Like I said, I think the Warrior Spear might get like a Condi variant of it. The staff is going to get like, they're going to get their own like trait like line, right, where like if you use the whole bottom row, you enhance your staff, where you can really become like a actual healer, right, and actually have it be like very, very like, you know, enhance the healing in some way, you know, and maybe interact with like other traits on that as well. Like you know, there's always the synergy, right? That's the thing. Like, how do you build a synergy on a profession, right? Like, how do the different traits interact with each other and stuff? So I think this is huge. This is going to be big. So for the warrior, I would, like I said, I would like to see something where we maybe get a spear that has a Condi variant. Not that I would use that or whatever. I would love to just see some I would love to see some traits that interact with the spear. A lot of people were saying that Paragon was like one of the comments that I saw for a lot of people, like, oh, Paragon. But one commenter was exactly right on point. Like, just so you guys know, Paragon from Guild Wars 1 didn't wear helmets. Some of the NPCs wore helmet-like things. They had like these covers with wings on them and stuff like that. I guess they were supposed to be helmets. They look kind of wonky, but you know, even like, and you can see that when you wear the Paragon outfit in Guild Wars 2, you can actually see, like, and you have your headpiece on, you can actually see, like, you do get a helmet or whatever. But the actual Paragon class, like profession in Guild Wars 1, didn't wear helmets. They had crests. They had these like glowing jewels that were floating in front of their head, which we have seen skins like that in Guild Wars 2 and stuff like that. But yeah, we have not seen you know, like, really Paragon with helmets. So, and this is not really, yes, there are wings on it, but this one looks more like, a lot of people are saying Seraph. This looks more like a Seraph. So maybe that's what the new elite specialization is going to be, Seraph. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Guardian rather than Warrior because of the icon situation. I would love to see a different icon. So, on the Guardian, I don't know. On both, I think on the Guardian, I would like to see, I don't know what I would like to see. I guess, the Phalanx. I mean, like I said, I keep talking about my old videos, but yeah, the Phalanx which was supposed to be this like defensive, defensive elite spec that it's this speculation that I had, this theory or whatever, on what we could see, and it was more like defensive. It was more on the like defensive line, because I feel like we've seen a lot of offense. I would like to see maybe something more defense oriented for the Guardian. I don't know, where you know, kind of we deal with like, you know, maybe some improvements to like, I don't know, where you kind of like, you become like more tanky in a way or something. I don't know. Something along those lines. For the Warrior, like I said, I would like to see something more Healy oriented, maybe. I think we have like specific, because when I look at all the lines, like for the Warrior, for example, they're all like offensively, like they don't really deal with like distributing boons or anything like that. You know, there's a couple of traits in there, but I think for the most part, like I kind of want to see something more boon related or something, like, but I don't know. I really, you guys can go back to those. I think I'm gonna kind of stick with what I said in those videos. They were more thought out than me just rambling right now. But yeah, so there you go. That's the Warrior. And then if we go back to the other icon, which is this, right? So a minstrel, right? Like a minstrel or bard or whatever. Just so for those of you that are maybe new to the community or weren't there around like a launch, so ArenaNet actually did like an April Fool's thing before Guild Wars 2 released, where they had teased the final class. I want to say, was it like they revealed the Mesmer on April Fool's or something, but they revealed it as like the minstrel. But then the minstrel like kind of burst into, like, it was just an illusion that was actually the Mesmer or something like that, right? Like that was the whole joke. You guys can kind of look it up or whatever, like the minstrel April Fool's thing or whatever. But that was the thing, like you know, that was kind of like the fake teaser that they had like all those years ago, was like a minstrel, and now we're getting something that's minstrel related, like that's music related, right? Like a bard, a minstrel, something like that. So I think we're gonna see that specific icon. You know, it really, I mean, I think it's Mesmer, right? I think a lot of us knew that. I don't think any other class has anything that's musical related at all. I don't know. I mean, we could, yeah, no. I mean, the Mesmer is the one that has all the like music. Anything that's music related is I think for the most part on the Mesmer. So I think this is the Mesmer icon that we're gonna see. I don't know what I want to see for it. Like I said, if we're thinking of Siren's Landing from Season 3, then I'm thinking of the Dirges, is what they were called. I forgot the name on Monday, but, you know, I had to look. I made that whole video and I looked up all the stuff or whatever. But the different Dirges of the gods, right, where you get this boon and you press the special action key and you get this like AoE around you that provided some kind of boon or whatever. I'm hoping that maybe that is how the minstrel or the bard is gonna kind of work. I made an elite specialization called the minstrel, and that was kind of the same concept. I had it where instead of the illusions like damaging enemies, but when you use the shatter, right? So like they will, you know, the clones will do their attacks or whatever, and then, you know, you shatter and they run to the enemy and explode. I think what they're going to do is they're going to run to the enemy and explode into AoEs of different boons that they're going to provide to their group instead of doing damage. Like that's what I'm kind of thinking. I don't know, but I remember that was kind of the concept of the minstrel that I had. I think I'm hoping that we'd kind of see. I don't know if I want to see necessarily like damage dealing minstrels. I guess the one thing that's kind of a shame is if we don't get new weapons, the minstrel wouldn't have really anything that's specific, like specifically music oriented, right? Like I don't know. I feel like, what did the Mesmers get? Well, we got spears, and then what did they get before that? I don't even remember. Yeah, I can't even think of it. I don't even know what the weapon was that they got for. It'll come to me like right after I'm done with this video, of course. But yeah, I don't think they have anything that's super related to music, which is gonna be that's gonna be kind of a shame, I think, in a way. So I don't know. You know, do you guys think we're gonna get weapons too? Like that would be kind of crazy. Like, are we gonna see some kind of musical musically inclined weapon, like, you know, are they going to make something where, for example, like we are getting like tridents or something for like every class, every profession, and they're just interacting with them differently, where like the trident turns into like a musical instrument in some shape or form on the Mesmer, where it's like a giant guitar or something like that. Like I don't know. You know, it would be weird to kind of think about that, but yeah, you know, when I think about that, you know, we have the minstrel, but do we really have weapons? Like, we can't even use a war horn, which is like the only like sound-based weapon that we have in the game. We can't even use that on the Mesmer, right? So I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Let me know in the comments. So that's kind of my theory on that for the Mesmer. Is something music related, something boon related, maybe in some shape or form, where it's not like the Chronomancer, but like in a way maybe is like the Chronomancer, where it provides these different boons. I don't know. I'm not very like, I deal more in concepts rather than like specific details on like exactly what they do. That's why I never really have gone in and like really thought out have these super well thought out elite specializations. I go more with like, what's the concept, what's the feel, what's the whole idea, like what, you know, what could some of the animations look like that type of stuff, right? Like that's kind of what I deal with when I talk about like elite specializations. But anyways, yeah, what do you guys think? Like what are we gonna see for the other and for the other classes too? What do you guys think we're gonna see for the other professions? You know, are you guys excited about this? Is this like something where you're like, oh my god, yes? Do you guys think we're gonna get new weapons? Is it gonna be like trident for everyone, or is it gonna be like a specific weapon in some shape or form for every specific elite specialization? They're gonna get something different, right? Like, you know, we could get the longbow on the Mesmer or whatever, and they could turn into a harp, which I hate that concept personally, but you know, many MMOs have done it that way. I think, at least from what I can tell, from what I can recall, that has happened more than once or twice. But yeah, like let me know. This is huge. Like, we're getting elite specializations probably. Like, this is what it looks like. So anyways, yeah, this is gonna be it for today, and yeah, I will see you guys probably in a couple of days. If we get more images, I'll make another video, and I'll see you guys then. All right, bye guys.